The real limitless pill. If you've ever watched the movie Limitless, you remember that magic pill, NZT, the one that turned an ordinary man into a genius, unlocking his mind and body in ways he never thought possible. What if I told you that such a pill actually exists in real life? No, it won't give you superpowers. It won't let you learn Italian in a day or predict the stock market. But it will fuel your brain, power your muscles, protect your heart, and even improve your mood. That pill is not hidden in a Hollywood script. It's sitting right on the shelf of every supplement store. It's called creatine. And for decades, people thought it was only for bodybuilders, for the gym rats chasing bigger biceps. But science is finally catching up, and it's showing us something far more profound. Creatine is not just about muscle. It's about the mind, about longevity, about resilience. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go back to 2024, when a team of researchers in China decided to ask a very simple question. Can creatine actually make us smarter?
Part 1. The study that changed everything. In 2024, the School of Physical Education at Guizhou Normal University in China conducted one of the most comprehensive reviews ever done on creatine and the human brain. They pulled together 16 randomized controlled trials covering nearly 500 participants between the ages of 20 and 76. Different ages, different conditions, different backgrounds. And what did they find? Creatine wasn't just helping athletes lift more weight. It was helping ordinary people, men and women, young and old, remember more, think faster, and focus better. The data was striking. Memory improved noticeably. Processing speed, the ability to react quickly, to think on your feet, also got faster. The effects were strongest in women, in people under stress, and in patients with health issues that normally slow down the brain. Imagine that. A simple, cheap supplement, the same one athletes take before the gym, suddenly helping a 70-year-old recall details more clearly, or helping a stressed student process information during exams. One of the lead researchers summed it up perfectly. Creatine acts like an energy buffer for the brain. When your neurons are tired, when your brain is running on empty, creatine steps in, refueling the system, keeping the lights on, making sure you can still perform. It's like having a backup generator in your head. And in a world where fatigue, stress, and overload are the norm, that backup can mean everything.
Part 2. One night without sleep. Now, let's step into a different kind of experiment. Not in a gym, not in a classroom, but in the harshest lab of all, sleep deprivation. In 2024, a team of scientists published a study in Nature that looked at what happens when the human brain runs on empty. They took healthy young adults and kept them awake for 21 straight hours. No rest, no reset, just pure exhaustion. If you've ever pulled an all-nighter, you know the feeling. Your thoughts get fuzzy, your reaction time slows down, even simple tasks feel impossible. Your brain is starving for energy, but it has nowhere to pull it from. Here's where creatine comes in. Instead of giving the participants caffeine or sugar, the researchers gave them a single large dose of creatine, about 0.35 grams per kilogram of body weight. For an average adult, that's roughly 25 grams in one shot. And the results? Within hours, something remarkable happened. Brain scans showed that creatine was literally restoring energy metabolism in the brain. pH levels that had dropped during exhaustion began to normalize. Reaction times improved. Cognitive performance, which should have continued spiraling down, started to rebound. Think about that. A substance most people associate with the squat rack was suddenly acting like a rescue kit for the brain, pulling people back from the fog of sleep deprivation. It didn't turn them into superheroes. They were still tired, but they weren't broken. They could still think, still react, still function, when everything in their biology said they should be shutting down. One of the researchers compared it to having a secret fuel tank. Quote, "When the primary battery is drained, creatine provides a reserve that keeps the engine running."
Part 3. The Muscle-Brain Connection. So far, we've seen creatine sharpen memory and rescue exhausted brains. But the bigger question is, why does it work at all? In 2025, a team of researchers published in Frontiers in Nutrition a detailed review that gave us a clue. They looked at creatine not just as a muscle supplement, but as a bridge between muscle and brain. Here's the thing. Your brain is an energy-hungry organ. It makes up only about 2% of your body weight, yet it consumes around 20% of your daily energy. Most of that comes from adenosine triphosphate, ATP, the chemical battery that powers every single cell. When ATP runs low, your neurons struggle, your thinking slows, your memory slips. Creatine's job is simple but powerful. It acts as an energy buffer. In muscles, it reloads ATP, so you can squeeze out that extra rep or sprint. In the brain, it does the same, keeping neurons charged when the demand spikes. But the researchers also found something deeper. Creatine doesn't just refill energy, it reduces oxidative stress, the kind of cellular rust that builds up under pressure. And it supports the production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That's the growth fertilizer for your brain cells, helping neurons connect, repair, and grow stronger. Think about that. Every time you fuel your muscles with creatine, you're also giving your brain a shield and a toolkit, protecting it from stress while encouraging it to adapt and grow. The scientists called it the muscle-brain axis. What's good for your strength is often good for your mind, and creatine sits right at that intersection. This is why athletes often report not just better performance in the gym, but sharper focus in life. It's why older adults taking creatine sometimes show not only stronger bones and muscles, but clearer thinking and better mood. It turns out the line between muscle and mind is much thinner than we thought, and creatine is one of the keys that ties them together.
Part 4. Creatine and Alzheimer's, a ray of hope. By 2025, creatine research had already shown its impact on athletes, students, and even the sleep-deprived. But then, scientists at the University of Kansas Medical Center asked a daring question. Could creatine help people with Alzheimer's disease? This was not about faster sprints or sharper test scores. This was about memory itself, about holding on to the very core of who you are. The team recruited older adults between the ages of 60 and 90, all diagnosed with Alzheimer's. For 8 weeks, these participants consumed 20 grams of creatine daily, a higher therapeutic dose designed not for muscles, but for the brain. What they discovered was remarkable. Brain imaging revealed an 11% increase in creatine levels inside the brain. That may sound like a small number, but in the context of neurodegenerative disease, it was groundbreaking. Even more striking, participants showed signs of improvement in working memory and executive function, the variabilities Alzheimer's erodes first. Imagine the scene. An elderly man who struggles to recall simple instructions, suddenly following conversations more clearly. A woman who often lost track of daily routines, showing glimpses of her old sharpness. Small steps, yes, but steps in the right direction. One of the lead investigators put it this way:
For the first time, we're not just talking about slowing decline. We're seeing signs that creatine may actually restore function, even if just a little. Of course, this was a pilot study, a small sample. It doesn't mean creatine is a cure, but it's a signal, a spark of possibility that a safe, affordable supplement could play a role in protecting memory where traditional medicine struggles. And this ties back to the larger theme. Creatine isn't just for athletes. It's for the student cramming for exams, the worker pulling long hours, the older adult fighting memory loss. It's for anyone whose brain, like their body, needs energy to survive and thrive.
Part 5. The Future of Creatine, from Gyms to Medicine Cabinets. For decades, creatine was dismissed as a bodybuilding supplement, a powder for athletes, sitting next to protein shakes on gym shelves. But 2025 has changed that narrative forever. The studies are stacking up, from the University of Kansas to research centers in China, from sleep deprivation labs to long-term cognitive trials. The evidence points in one direction. Creatine is no longer just about muscle. It's about life itself. Think of how rare this is. Most supplements rise and fall on hype. One year it's fish oil, then turmeric, then the latest miracle berry. They promise the world only to fade when research catches up. Creatine is the opposite. It began with muscles, then proved itself again and again in the brain, in the heart, in aging. And the best part? It's cheap, accessible, safe. No billion-dollar pharmaceutical company owns it. No doctor needs to prescribe it. It's one of the most researched supplements on Earth, with over 700 peer-reviewed studies confirming its benefits. The only question left is, will we take it seriously? Imagine if, instead of chasing miracle pills, we started with what science already shows us. Imagine a world where students preparing for exams, soldiers facing sleepless nights, and grandparents fighting memory loss all had the same tool in their corner. One scoop of white powder stirred into a glass of water, quietly helping us resist fatigue, sharpen our focus, strengthen our bodies, and protect our minds. The pill from Limitless was fiction, but creatine, that's real. And maybe the real question is not whether it works, but whether we're ready to use it, not just for biceps, but for brains, for longevity, and for the kind of resilience the modern world demands. Because sometimes the secret to becoming stronger, smarter, and more alive was sitting on the shelf all along.